So just a quick little heads up, I understand that some of these topics are particularly sore for a lot of people. I don't claim to be an expert on anything I'm about to talk about. I'm certainly not smart. I'm definitely not educated to any real capacity. This is just based on the opinions that I have formed, based on the Plinko chips going down the random pins that is my life, that gave me my thought process and the way that I see the world. So this is me just discussing very lightly and loosely one of the things that I find silly that I see people debating right now. So if I say something that is offensive or that you strongly disagree, by all means, correct me in the comments. I'm honest, like completely open to being corrected. Everything I'm about to say, I do not assume I am right. I am just saying what I assume. All I ask is just try not to stoop down to name calling and just give your actual reasoning, and then I'll read it and learn something. Or if you're wrong too, then hopefully I don't learn that. So I had no intentions of filming a video today, especially about like this subject. It is a very tense subject. Kind of throw myself into the lion's den, and yes, there is some sort of punchline involving my name being Daniel, but we're not going to do that. What we are going to do is talk about how silly these little like chocolate arguments are. The first one, because this isn't the only one that I'm aware of, and I'm not like a person who is particularly well studied in drama surrounding chocolate, but this is the second time that I've seen a reaction from the Conservative Party to chocolate companies. The first one being that whole Tucker Carlson rant, which I believe there's two separate ones. Could be wrong on that, but basically he's talking about how he's upset about how they're removing the sexuality of the green M&M. Like they're making her less sexy and more, I think they're going for like more of an intelligent look, and they changed some of the other personality traits of the other M&M. And Tucker Carlson had this rant about how he was upset with that, which I thought was kind of weird, being that like I grew up in a conservative household, and me growing up, like I wasn't allowed to watch MTV or like anything that was like too sexualized. And even as I got a little bit older, I think this is kind of common in a lot of conservative households, I was allowed to watch things that had violence in it over sexuality. So my parents might pre-watch a movie to see if there's any nudity in it, because if it was PG-13 or even R, if we got that rating for violence alone, then I was allowed to see it. And then cursing was okay, long as there wasn't egregious use of the F word or a whole lot of over-the-top blasphemy. And I feel like the stance of that family, that sort of conservative world that I grew up in, would be kind of opposed to the sexy M&M. Like, hey, why are we sexualizing candy where the mascots are clearly marketed towards children? Because I doubt there's that many adults that are watching cartoon M&Ms thinking to themselves, yeah, I really want that one in my mouth. Now that I think about it, though, making a sexual M&M does create that idea and markets to adults, but not that well. Having sexual innuendos in cartoons has always been a pretty big no-no when it comes to conservatives, but there's just been this weird flip where like progressives are now the ones who are censoring speech more often, and then the conservatives are like, no, we got to allow everything, freedom of speech, whereas it used to be the other way around. Like, you know, I think back of the arguments of like Frank Zappa trying to say that artists can say anything that they want in their songs and it should be okay because of freedom of speech. And even though Frank Zappa was a bit of an independent, and I think he had referred to himself as a conservative before, which I think is pretty interesting, by today's standards for the most part, he would probably wind up somewhere more in the progressive category. Then again, on the freedom of speech thing, who knows what you would say with all this other stuff going on. He definitely said a lot of crazy shit in a lot of songs that it would definitely not fly in today's more woke culture. But the amusement for me today is revolving around this new Hershey's ad, which I want you to experience it in the same order that I experienced it. So the first thing that I saw was I was recommended this ad on YouTube. I've been watching a lot of, it started off with me watching a lot of more extremist progressive videos, and then me going through the comments just to watch people argue, because that's just amusing to me. And then I started getting recommended conservative stuff, and I started watching that and going through the comment section. Both of them were really fun. The first thing I saw was this ad, which I'm going to play for you right now. And here we go, pressing play.
International Women's Day is upon us again, and I love an international woman. But our friends over at Hershey's, they don't even know what a woman is. They've hired a biological male to be the spokesperson for their Women's Day campaign. And they're calling that campaign, and I swear I'm not making this up, Hershey. Hershey. It's humiliating. And it's the reason that I'm launching Jeremy's Chocolate.
I'm getting really hard Dr. Squatch soap vibes from this commercial, the way he's like enunciating his words and the way he's talking. Like, you see any of those, like, your balls are stinky. It's very reminiscent of the way that ad campaign guy was speaking. Anyways, back to the video.
We have two kinds. She, her, and he, him. One of them's got nuts. If you need me to tell you which one it is, keep giving your money to Hershey's. But if you're tired of giving your money to woke corporations that hate you,
I don't know if Hershey's hates you, but we'll get to, well, maybe there's some truth to that. We'll get to it in a second.
And you're looking for a delicious chocolate bar from a company that actually wants your business? Head over to IHateHersheys.com and order Jeremy's chocolate today.
Do you think that Hershey doesn't want your business? Because to me, it seems that the whole reason that they did this ad campaign, which we're going to watch the commercial in a second, is because they are kind of trying to pander to a bigger audience or a different audience that they think is larger. So let's see if we can get our hands on the commercial. So it was hard for me to actually find the commercial, and the first place that I was able to find the commercial was a conservative video responding to it. So we're going to watch the commercial in a conservative video. It's going to be fun. This is the order in which I discovered the commercial too.
My name is Faye Johnstone. I'm the Executive Director of Wisdom to Action. We can create a world where everyone is able to live in public space as their honest and authentic selves. See the woman changing how we see the future at Hershey's Canada.
Now, I'm not sure. There's 5 women that it's focused on, and I don't know if each of them got their own commercial or not. In other words, I don't know if they're only focusing on Faye's version of the commercial, or if that's the only commercial that they put out, but there's a total of 5 women that are behind the campaign that is focused on. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll go to Hershey'sCanada.com.
Some may see the future as dark.
But we most definitely see the light.
Because the future isn't fantasy.
It's ours for the making.
This International Women's Day,
See the women changing how we see the future.
At Hershey's Canada.
So it looks like there's multiple women that it's focused on. Do they each get their own video? Okay, so they each have their own video, but it seems like they're really focusing on this one because it's a trans woman, and because conservatives like butting heads with the transgender community. What has been kind of amusing for me is when you search Hershey's Women's Day, the top channels for that search term is all conservative channels. So I don't know if any progressives are running to defend this attack. Now, it sort of changes my opinion, because at first I was going to talk a lot about how I feel like Hershey's very much pandering towards the trans community, and that in the same way that during Gay Pride Month, everyone has rainbows in their logo and stuff like that, but when push comes to shove and they have to put their money where their mouth is, they only put their money where their mouth is when it's marketing for themselves to make more money and not towards giving towards other people or actually supporting these communities. And I thought, oh, they're just using this woman to get the LGBTQ plus community on their side. But the fact is that it's just one of 5 women that is trans is kind of changes my opinion a bit. But regardless, the reason that I kind of made this video is just, so I'm from Maryland. Hershey, Pennsylvania is not far from me. I've been to the Hershey's Park many times. Many church groups I know go there. And obviously, I'm sure there's going to be a ton of boycotting because of this. But what I thought was odd about it was that Hershey's never struck me as a particularly woke company. And that's why I was kind of like, okay, this seems just like a marketing ploy. Now, I'm not saying that if, let's say this was the only ad that they put out, I'm not saying that could not be from a place of true caring. I'm not saying They literally could have been trying to come up with a commercial, and they could have been like, you know what? Women that are trans are under attack a lot right now, and we want to show our support. We want to make them the face of this campaign ad so that when people see it, they can feel empowered if they're trans. It's like you have something to look at to be like, hey, look, you're being represented by chocolate, which is totally possible, but it just seems not the case. What is surprising to me, though, is that all these conservative companies are only doing things to attack this by calling out what chromosomes this person was born with or what genitals this person was born with, which is both literally and metaphorically a low blow from them. They make the exact same jokes over and over and over about this subject, like giving the one nuts and the other one not nuts when it came to the chocolate bar, which is like you're beating a dead horse with a dead horse that you killed in your last joke. Maybe change the angle a little bit. But what is surprising to me is, why are these conservative channels not going after Hershey as a company? Why are they not pointing out all the terrible things that Hershey does? For example, Hershey got caught using heavy metals in their chocolate, which is really poisonous and bad for people, and they had to recall all this chocolate, and they got in trouble for not listing it in the ingredients, even though they knew that it was in the ingredients. Something that was very dangerous, that probably was just saving them money. Or the fact that, I think a lot of people will see a company like Hershey and they'll look back at the founder and be like, he seemed to have given a lot. At the end of his life, he gave his entire net worth to schools and things to help the community. So when he died, they came up with a bunch of money and built schools and did a lot of great things. And I think they look at things like that and like, yes, that is a tried and true company, born and bred in America, blah, blah, blah. And we'll get behind something like that unless they decide to use something that we don't like in their ad campaign. But then it's okay, but they've been proven to use child labor, slave child labor, in getting their cocoa. And there's all this, if you go look it up, there's all of this debate and debacle of them not giving out the information of how they're getting their chocolate, where the cocoa's coming from, where their money's going to support the communities that they're getting the chocolate made. It seems to be just like every huge company, a real shit show of terrible things in order to cut corners and save money, which makes me think when companies like that have these progressive or woke ad campaigns are strictly doing it for the pat on the back and for the money in the pocket instead of something that they actually believe in, because you cannot use child labor while trying to keep the image of like, we're just trying to do the right thing, because clearly you're not. So instead of making a million dick and ball jokes, why not, like, if you want to boycott Hershey's, but maybe do a little bit of research on your reasoning besides, I disagree with this ad. I went through the comment section and this one person was like, I demand that we have a boycott. Let's and like, it's this person claiming that they're going to start the boycott or whatever, which like clearly is going to be boycotts all over the place. And there's this like real gung-ho anti-Hershey movement. It's like trending on Twitter right now, like boycott Hershey. And it's like, why now? Like, why did it take this commercial for people to boycott Hershey? And with that being said, I am fully aware that every single corporation, probably 90% of my outfit, probably has some sort of hands that have touched it that is some sort of unpaid or extremely underpaid labor. Totally possible. In fact, totally likely. I'm not saying he who without sin cast the first stone. It's my second Bible reference of this video, and I don't know why. But what I am saying is there's real valid grounds to attack this company, other than something as stupid as you don't want to acknowledge trans people as the gender that they identify as. And I'm probably going to get comments about agendas and things like that. And like I say, like, if you're going to leave comments on my videos, please don't insult people's intelligence. Please don't insult people in general. Just make your points. Have your debates, have the conversation, and then move on. A lot of people are just going to disagree. And these are things that I want to have conversations about without one person being like, well, you're a bigot. Well, you're a racist. I don't want to see that. What I want to see is like, here's my logical reason why I think this way. And then they say, here's my logical reason why I think that way. And then maybe someone can figure something out to help the other person learn something about the other thing. Probably not, because we're all assholes. And we live in a day and age where we get to hide behind our keyboards. We don't have to worry about running into that person most of the time. So that's just my simple take on this whole thing. Personally, clearly, I was zero offended by the ad. The fact that there's 5 women and they included one woman that is trans, I think is totally valid. But also, boycott Hershey, because their chocolate kind of sucks. Reese's Cups. The Reese's Cups are pretty good, but they seemingly, on a little bit of research I've done, seem to be a pretty terrible company. Let's let Nestle's get on top of the heap for the first time. Aside from chocolate chips, Nestle is trailing behind in every category, so. This one's for you, Nestle. Is Nestle's Crunch still a thing? I haven't seen that in a candy store in forever. That candy sucked.